It was the 17th day of the battle on the field of Kurukshetra, a most bloody war that had taken a huge toll on human lives and emotions. Even though most Maharathis of the Kaurava army had fallen, including Bhishma on the 10th day and Drona on the 15th day, Karna still remained. He was now the commander of the Kaurava army and had been unstoppable, scattering the Pandu soldiers like a mass of cotton by the speed of a mighty wind. Yudhishthira came forward with the aim of defeating Karna, but when they both entered in a duel, Karna injured and defeated Yudhishthira. Karna spared Yudhishthira's life but insulted him in ways that nobody could think of. Yudhishthira was bleeding to the point that the twin brothers Nakul and Sahadev decided to take him back into the tent, away from the battlefield. The only reason why Karna didn't kill Yudhishthira at that time was due to the promise he had given to their mother Kunti that he would not kill any of her sons except Arjuna. During such trepidation, Yudhishthira would only think of Arjun for taking revenge for his defeat. In his camp, Yudhishthira awaited news of Karna's death, that piece of news which he was confident would come from Arjun himself. After all, hadn't Arjun vowed to kill Karna? With Krishna as his charioteer, how could he not succeed? Arjun and Krishna were still fighting on the battlefield when Bhim came to Arjun with the news of Yudhishthira's defeat and his condition. Arjun had grown increasingly anxious over the absence of his elder brother from the battlefield. Not seeing Yudhishthira filled Arjun with worry. He asked Bhima on Yudhishthira's whereabouts and then proceeded to the eldest Pandava's camp. When Yudhishthira saw both Krishna and Arjun enter his tent, he thought that Karna had been killed in the battle, and exclaimed, "By killing Karna in the battle, you have brought an end to my enemies." The humiliation suffered at the game of dice at the hands of Karna when he had called Pandavas the sterile seeds of sesamum, the anger at knowing that it was Karna's protection and friendship that fueled Duryodhan's enmity towards the Pandavas, all had been avenged. In this moment of triumph, Yudhishthira revealed the inner torment that had been gnawing away at him all these years. Yudhishthira continues and says, "I have been frightened about him for 13 years. I was not able to sleep at night, nor could I be happy during the day. Whether I was awake or sleeping, Karna was always in front of me." More than Bhishma or Drona, it had always been Karna who had been the biggest thorn for the Pandava side. Yudhishthira now wanted to know the details of Arjuna's battle with Karna. When congratulated and questioned by Yudhishthira, Arjuna responded that he had come to invite Yudhishthira to witness Karna's death at Arjuna's hands. "If you wish to see it, there will be a fierce battle today between me and the son of Suta." In short, Arjuna had just poured a bucket of cold water over Yudhishthira's premature joy. Yudhishthira's disappointment was crushing. His anger and frustration boiled over, and he railed against Arjuna, calling him worthless, accusing him of being affectionate towards Duryodhan, of being fearful of Karna, and ending with telling him to hand over his Gandiv to someone who is capable of handling its power. Gandiv's insult made Arjuna extremely furious. He draws his sword and rushes towards his brother. Krishna stops him and asks him the reason for drawing his sword and the exaggerated reaction. Arjun replied that he had taken a secret vow that anyone who asks him to give up his bow shall be slain by him. In those days, Kshatriyas had the habit of making a secret vow at the time of completion of their training, and they were expected to keep the vow at any cost. Arjun tells Krishna that he had to stick to his vow at any cost, and hence he would have to kill Yudhishthira. Krishna tells Arjun that he is making a mistake with such senseless instance and reminds him of his bigger dharma, that of winning the war. He tells Arjun that the right and the only way to kill an elder was to use harsh words or berate the elder. He instructs Arjun to do the same against Yudhishthira. Arjun complies and showers abuses on Yudhishthira. In his outburst, he keeps telling his brother Yudhishthira how only Bhima had the right to snub him, and not Yudhishthir. Arjuna even called Yudhishthir incapable and accused him as the source for all the problems happening in their lives. He reminded Yudhishthir that it was him who time and again accepted the invite to the game of dice, staked himself, his wealth, his brothers, and not just that, his own wife, in the game. Upon completing his outburst, he draws his sword out once again. A seemingly surprised Krishna asks him for repeating the act. Arjun tells him that he can no longer live after having abused his beloved brother in that manner. Krishna once again counsels him and reminds him that suicide is not appropriate for any human being, as the body is the kshetra where the sadhana of the soul can take place. Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha can be achieved only by utilizing the body, and therefore self destruction of one's body is strictly prohibited. Krishna then provides a way out for Arjun to atone for his sin. He tells him that self praise is equivalent to suicide, so he should praise himself heartily. Arjun follows Krishna's advice and indulges in heavy self praise for a while. He goes on about how powerful he is and how many kings and kingdoms were defeated by him. Thus, Arjun kills himself. At the end, Yudhishthir, who is very down because of Arjun's abuses, proceeds to kill himself. Krishna stops him and explains the whole situation. Arjun falls at his brother's feet and begs for pardon. Yudhishthir excuses him, and both of them embrace each other. Now, why would you think that Arjun, the ideal Pandava in so many aspects, who had a little over 2 weeks ago received the timeless wisdom of the Gita from Krishna, lose control so much? How did matters escalate to the point that these two brothers and the epitome of love would hurl abuses at each other? To answer this question, ask this: aren't we more likely to lose our temper when tired and exhausted, say after a long week and day of work? The answer may lie in something called ego depletion. The daily stress of more than 2 weeks on the battle of Kurukshetra took a toll on the warriors. The anger and frustration that they would have kept under control was no longer under check by day 17. The slightest provocation would have sufficed. Ego depletion had set in. Even though Dharmaraj Yudhishthir knew better than to snap at his brother Arjun, the psychological toll of the war had withered away self-control. Relating this incident and Krishna's message to our own lives, it is startling that murder and suicide are the two things we repeatedly commit in our lives almost on a daily basis. Berating elders and self-praise is common amongst most prevalent habits in our society today, that we do not even realize the extent of the evil in both of these behaviors. Eventually, on the 17th day of the Mahabharata war, the enmity ends between Arjuna and Karna when Karna is killed on the battlefield at the hands of Arjun. To know the full story of Karna and his death, watch the video linked in the comments below.